On the buzz meter this Sunday, caution. Bill O'Reilly steps into my no-spin zone to talk about the coverage of President Obama, MSNBC, his high decibel style, and why he says the liberal media resent him.
They hate me because I represent something that is very feared in America. I made my success outside of the establishment. That's how I did it. And they don't like that. And the right doesn't like me either.
President Obama, trying to fix his health care program, runs into a buzzsaw of negative questions from the press corps.
Do you not believe, sir, the American people deserve a deeper, more transparent accountability from you as to why you said that over and over?
Why the media are now openly challenging his credibility. That 60 Minutes apology by Lara Logan for the botch story on Benghazi.
The most important thing to every person at 60 Minutes is the truth. And the truth is, we made a mistake.
Why it was too little, too late, and further tarnished the program. I'm Howard Kurtz, and this is Media Buzz. You know the drill. Send me a tweet about the program at Howard Kurtz, and we'll get to some of those a bit later in the program. If any further evidence were needed that the mainstream media are broadening their indictment of President Obama, look no further than this contentious news conference.
Do you feel as though the flawed healthcare rollout has led to a breach in the public trust and confidence in government?
You said after the law was implemented or signed, if you like your plan, you can keep it. Americans believed you, sir, when you said that to them over and over. Do you not believe, sir, the American people deserve a deeper, more transparent accountability from you as to why you said that over and over?
The president was awash in negative headlines as he announced a plan aimed at helping the millions who've been booted by their health insurance plans. But news organizations have shifted their focus to the larger and more personal issue of Obama's credibility. Joining us now, Lauren Ashburn, Fox News contributor and author of the top Twitter talk column on foxnews.com. Amy Holmes, who anchors the Hot List for The Blaze. And Kirsten Powers, Fox News contributor and a columnist for The Daily Beast. The negative coverage, as we just saw, has turned from Obamacare to Obama himself and questions about his personal credibility. Is this a turning point?
Of course it is. This is absolutely a turning point in his administration. It used to be one or two people who were sounding that alarm about him and his personal trust and credibility, and now it's front page news everywhere. The Wall Street Journal, Slate, the Huffington Post, you've got the Washington Post, all saying something about his credibility. In Obama we trust, question mark.
And is that justified at this point?
It is justified, given the mistake that he has made. And once a president loses this kind of credibility, it is tough to get it back.
The health care rollout has been a disaster. Even the president would not deny that. But is the press being unduly personal in now making this not about a policy fiasco, which it has been, but about whether he personally is untrustworthy?
Well, he did make those campaign promises over and over again. 2 weeks ago on this show, I said that the emperor was wearing no clothes. I think it's fair to say he's now getting a colonoscopy from the press with the investigations into... That
sounds painful, Amy.
I think it has been painful for the president. And I think that is why, in large part, he even had this press conference on Thursday, which I think across the board was judged as a disaster.
Front page headline in the Washington Post, lack of trust threatens agenda. So there's not a lot of chatter about not just the failure of the program, but the failure of liberalism, potentially. The second term could be toast. Is this unfair, or is it going overboard?
Well, I think it's entirely fair. They're covering what's happening. What's happened is the president made a promise that didn't turn out to be true. Americans are upset about it. So they're covering the news, and they should get credit for that.
It's entirely fair. You don't want to push back at all?
Not even slightly. And I think that the other problem is I think journalists are probably personally angry at the president because they were reporting this to the American people, that this is the way it was going to be, and that no one was going to lose their plan. And people reasonably should trust the president when the president makes such a clear promise. This wasn't a gray area, and people should be able to assume that what he's saying is true.
This is exactly what we're talking about, right? If you've lost the press, you've lost Kirsten, who has been a supporter.
If you've lost Kirsten Powers, you've lost America?
That's it.
All right. You're in the Walter Cronkite role. But now there is a dissenting voice at MSNBC, Ed Schultz, who often takes on the media, does not like the coverage, and I guess even at his own network. Let's take a look at that.
The mainstream media, I believe, wants Obamacare to fail. They're afraid to do a positive story because they're afraid that somebody might not watch. The media is just cherry-picking the bad facts that are out there, repeating them over and over again, and in many cases, they're making stuff up.
Bad facts, making stuff up?
What? What did he just say? I'm sorry. It didn't make any sense. The media has been so upbeat on this until the website crashed, until it was learned that the promises were broken. And on the negative facts, hello, there are more negative facts than there are positive.
Right. I mean, there are some positive stories to be told because this rollout is helping some people, but it's so totally overwhelmed by those who have been either can't get on, can't get the policies, or it will cost them more money if they do get new policies. But what about the fix that the president announced, the proposed fix to allow these quote, substandard plans to continue to be sold for another year?
Right.
Why has that not changed the coverage at all?
That was fascinating that it was such a reversal of the president's position. And immediately after he made that announcement, you saw criticism from the media instantaneously. Does the president even have the legal authority to rescind these cancellations? So you're seeing a media critique of the president that is instantaneous in a way that we haven't seen for 5 years.
I want to pick up with you, Kirsten, your point about journalists feeling led astray, betrayed, let down, they're angry. And of course, you've had some personal experience there because you've lost your health insurance plan as a result of this new policy. So does that extend to you? Are you personally disappointed in the president? And how much does that color what you write and say about him?
Well, I've been personally disappointed, I think, as you know, many times with the president, so, over the years. So, yes, it's disappointing when he says something that's not true. And I'm not that concerned about my personal situation. I actually have said this before. I can afford it. I'm willing to pay more for more people to have insurance if that's in fact what's going to happen.
But it certainly hits home.
But it's
when you see it firsthand.
It hits home, but it's more that I just know for a fact that what they're saying is not true. So a perfect example is they continue to claim that, oh, well, we're just saving people from substandard plans, which was never the purpose of Obamacare. Let's just stipulate that. But we're saving people from substandard plans. My plan is not substandard. All the things that they say that people like me don't have in their plans, I have. So I guess it's helped me be able to know, well, wait, I'm one of these people, and what they're saying isn't true, and they need to come clean and stop making up all these reasons for why people are being kicked off their health insurance.
Now, other presidents in modern history have lost the confidence of the public and also lost the benefit of that with the press.
Well, of course, take President Bush with Katrina. He seemed out of it. He was looking from a helicopter down on this ravaged nation. Bill Clinton, who had an affair, and his popularity didn't tumble that much. But
why was that?
It's because he didn't hurt the millions of people and their pocketbooks. What he did was something personal that wasn't very acceptable.
Right, but Obamacare obviously affects just about everybody in the country, whether you're keeping your health insurance or not. It is not some theoretical Washington scandal. Interesting moment on Megyn Kelly's show where Zeke Emanuel, former White House aide, brother of Rahm, who helped design this health care system that is not working very well right now, took a shot at this network. Let's take a look at that.
Remember, this was not an environment which was hospitable to setting up the exchanges.
I know. There was a lot of
you and your colleagues were constantly criticizing, trying to underfund it, and trying to make sure it didn't work.
I don't think Fox News had anything to do with the rollout of healthcare.gov.
You were constantly attacking the law, and you were trying to make it underfunded.
It was all our fault.
Okay.
Let me ask.
I watched that interview, and Mr. Emanuel is doing Obamacare no favors with this completely wild, absurd, ridiculously on its face untrue spin.
Well, he can push back against Fox, where there has been a lot of negative analysis of this law.
There's been negative coverage, but as Megyn Kelly pointed out, Fox News had nothing to do with the rollout of healthcare.gov.
So blaming the messenger, perhaps?
This is absurd. And getting back to Kirsten's point, with all of this spin that can be, is demonstrably false, we have 5 million cancellations. That's 5 million stories. We only have 27,000 enrollments through healthcare.gov. So the media can go, you don't have to go very far to find people who've been negatively affected, who've had their policies canceled, who don't get to see their doctors, don't get to go to the same hospitals. And this is a story that's just going to keep rolling.
And yet, in the face of all this, we have these New York Times editorials. First, it was one that said that Obama misspoke when he promised you can keep your plan. And then it was described as an inaccurate promise. What kind of Orwellian language is this?
It's pathetic. I mean, it's just completely pathetic, and I don't even know how they can write the things that they write sometimes on that editorial page, because go to the New York Magazine. They put together, not exactly a conservative outlet, they put together end-to-end of every single time he said it, 20 plus times or whatever. I mean, this was something that not only he said, but now you have, they're now rounding up every Senate Democrat who said it. The Democrats all across the country were going out and saying this and promising this and believed it.
Right. Well, before we go, while the president was having his press conference, at the same time up in Canada, the embattled mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford, the crack-smoking, murder-threatening, somewhat crazed mayor of Toronto, was also talking to reporters. And I want to play this for you because take a look at Katie Simpson. She's a reporter for CP24 and how she handles the rather explicit sexual language that we're bleeping out here, uttered by Mayor Ford.
Oh, and the last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her. Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
I know we're up live right now, but I don't know if we can. Mayor Ford, speaking as Mayor Ford does, very plainly, as he said in council yesterday, he effed up, and now using language that I don't think we can broadcast that on TV, but we just broadcast that on TV.
What else are you going to say? I mean, I did hundreds and hundreds of live shots. Never in my career have I had anything happen like that, and I don't think I would be as composed as she was.
I was going to say, I actually commend her composure, and thanks to Mayor Ford, everyone in the United States gets to know who this reporter is.
Yeah.
Did you feel for her?
Totally. Well, of course, because usually what happens in that case is you recap what was said. You'll say, so as they just said, what you're supposed to say.
I can't quite say it. Well, the kicker to the story is that Rob Ford just got his own TV show in Canada with his brother, so maybe he's been auditioning for this all along. And also, in terms of American coverage of Canada, which is a country that too often the U.S. media, this story has gotten more coverage than anything, I think, since the War of 1812. All right, when we come back, an uproar over a Washington Post columnist and his controversial description of interracial marriage. And later, I go toe-to-toe with Bill O'Reilly.